Okay, let's begin. My name is Yunrui Zhou, and my project is simulating transmission and exploring optimal adaptive resource allocation in OFDM system. Firstly, we need to know what is wireless communications. Wireless communications is the transfer of information symbols or power between various points without connected wire. It has been used in many applications, such as mobile phones, Wi-Fi, cellular data transfer, wireless energy, and energy transfer. The first image shows the example of a mobile phone. This is the oldest type of phone. People can only make a call by using this kind of phone. The second image shows the smartphone. It is also regarded as the cellular data transfer because people can use it to watch TV or stream movie. These two images shows two examples. The first one shows the example of Wi-Fi and the second one shows the example of wireless energy transfer. Next, we need to know the complexities of wireless communications. The first one is multipath fading. Unlike wire communications, which has a fixed path, transmission through wireless may have various paths. It also called as multiple paths. Different paths may have different path gains. Combining many effects in different paths may cause multipath fading. The second complexity is delay spread. In multipath propagations, signals may extend. The previous signal may interface the substantial signal, or called inter-symbol interface (ISI). It will be discussed later. The third one is frequency selected fading. Bandwidth of signals may higher than the coherence bandwidth of channel, which may distort the transmitted signals. The final is inter-channel interference. Such coherence channels may overlap. All these limitations give rise to multiplexing. What is multiplexing? Multiplexing is one technique to combine several digital or analog signals into one signal, which is on medium channel. There are some types of multiplexing, such as TDM, FDM, CDM, and SPM. What is OFDM? The full name is orthogonal frequency division multiplexing. It is one kind of scale that can encode digital data on various subcarriers, which have various frequencies. It is one special kind of FDM. Every subcarrier is orthogonal. It is popular in wideband digital communications, such as smart TV, radio broadcasting. Why orthogonal? Because subcarriers are overlapping but orthogonal to each other, which allows them to occupy the same bandwidth but no interference. So OFDM is a very important technique in wireless communications. Now I have three questions. How does OFDM work in details? How the transmission channel receiving chain in OFDM, and how to improve the performance of OFDM. To deal with these three questions, I have three objects in this project. I need to simulate the transmission in OFDM system and explore the optimal adaptive resource allocation in OFDM system. Firstly, I need to know some concepts in OFDM or transmission. The first one is baseband and passband transmission. As for the baseband transmission, it can get the pulse amplitude multi-modulated signals. It is also always used in over wire. As for the passband transmission, because the digital modulation is utilized, then passband is a range of frequencies, which means the signals has been filtered. Comparing to baseband which is used in wire communications. Passband is always used in wireless communications, especially in FDM. This is an example of passband signal. The original signal is filtered by two filters, so the output passband signal is a range of frequencies. The AWGN's full name is additive white Gaussian noise, which is a noise channel mimicking the random process in natural world. There are three chapters. The first one is additive, which means the added noise is inherent in nature. And as for the white, the AWGN has the unified power over the band of frequency. As for the Gaussian in the time domain, AWGN is distributed normally, and the average value is 0. This is an example of original signals under the AWGN channel. Rayleigh is a channel model which is like the propagation situation of radio signal. It is also always used in radio equipment. And this is the equation of probability density function and the example of signals under Rayleigh channel. Inter-symbol interference is one kind of distortion on signals. The previous symbol shows the noise effect on the subsequent noise symbols. The communication will be reliable. The occurrence of ISI may lead to wrong decision on the receiver output in OFDM system. There are 4 methods to deal with. We can enlarge the size of symbol, but this method can only mitigate the influence of ISI. Or we can use adaptive equalization, or we can use error correcting codes, or we can use cyclic prefix. This is what we will use in this project. What is cyclic prefix? It refers to prefixing one symbol with the duplication of the end of symbol. It can eliminate the influence of ISI. In this way, a guard period is at the beginning of every symbol, and the receiver can identify what is the end of one specific symbol at the beginning of the symbol. This is the example of cyclic prefix. What is modulation? It is a process to modulate information signals onto the carriers. In digital modulation, the modulation process is the same as the digital to analog transformation. Conversely, the demodulation process is the analog to digital transformation process. There are some main types of digital modulations, such as ASK, PSK, FSK, and QAM. This is an example of QAM. They are 4 QAM, 16 QAM, and 64 QAM. Next, I talk about the procedures of simulation of MIMO or LTE and LTE OFDM. MIMO means the multiple input and multiple output. This image shows the basic OFDM system architecture. It includes the transmitter and the receiver. As for the transmitter, it includes the generating data for the random data or input data for the image data. Next, we need to choose the modulation. In this project, the QPSK and 16 QAM will be chosen. Next, we need to sub-carrier mapping, IFFT, adding cyclic prefix, upper sampling, and TX filtering. As for the receiver, they are mostly inverse to the transmitter. It includes the TX filtering, equalization, downsampling, removing cyclic prefix, FFT, subcarrier demapping, demodulation. The simulation results will be shown on the evaluation section. Next, I talk about explore the optimal adaptive resource allocation in MUOFDM. There are some existing adaptive resource allocation methods. It can be divided into fixed resource allocation such as FDMA and TDMA, and the other type of existed method is dynamic resource allocation. There are two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. In my project, I wanted to explore more efficient adaptive resource allocation method. In paper 1, this is paper 1. In paper 1, a main sub-channel is assigned to the user who has the most gain and set the water filling algorithm as the rule of power distribution. Then the system can get the maximum sum of channel capacity, but this method don't consider about the fairness between each user. In paper 2, this is paper 2. The main object is to maximize the minimum user capacity gain. So this method considers about the fairness of various users, but ignore the specialized requirement among each user. So the optimal adaptive resource allocation in my project is to balance the sum, capacity, and fairness based on these two papers. But solving suboptimal resource allocation and power distribution in a sub-channel is very hard. So I need to separate them and solve them in order with proportional rate constraints. Firstly, solving suboptimal resource allocation, which is based on paper 2. The algorithm's principle is to use the channel who has the most channel to noise ratio. At this point, assuming each user has the same power. Secondly, solving the power distribution under the condition of above suboptimal sub-channel resource allocation. In this situation, two conditions need to be considered: single user and multi-user. In multi-user, two special scenarios are analyzed: cases under linear and high channel to noise ratio. Details of the optimal algorithm can be found in my final report. Next is the evaluation. Because the limitation of time, you can see the details of evaluation in my second video. Thank you.